of the interwebs, and welcome to my February wrap-up of things I have consumed, books and TV and film-wise. I haven't got an actual name for this yet, but I thought I would make it quite separate from my normal favourites from February because this is more what people come to this channel for. So yeah, I must say this is quite a short list, mainly because for the next till the end of April I am going to be consumed by university work, so I don't have as much time as I want to consume a lot of media or consume and read books, and I don't have as much time as I'd like to have for that, mainly because I've got a dissertation to write. I have 2 modules I still need to pass with the university. That includes essays, presentations and stuff, and that's all steam rolling right ahead before and that's all due in like April, so I'm very busy at the moment. So once I have time I will be this monthly what I've consumed section will increase a lot, most probably. So that's my warning, that's me just saying that now before I start. So let's get started. So the first thing I actually read this month was my monthly What We're Reading book club book, which was Spies and Saddles, which I know all of you know I've read because I put a book talk up, a what talk. It's a Wattpad book from VB123321. I have got it written down so I can remember. And we follow a girl called Natalie, who is my spirit animal, as she finds out her best friend is a spy and she gets thrown into that world. And it's a very short book. It's one of a series, but at the beginning you can tell it was meant to be a one-off. I really enjoyed it, and I really am looking forward to seeing how the writer's writing style develops and how Natalie and these characters develop throughout the next 3 books. So if you would like to see my really fangirly thoughts, I will leave the link to the description. I will leave that book talk link in the description. You can tell I am like brain numb. All I've done for like the beginning of the year is do work, and I'm now brain numb. One of the first films I watched this month was The Piano, which is an Australian film, I believe. It follows a woman who chooses not to speak. She actually mimes everything, like sign language. And her daughter moved to, it's almost like the middle of nowhere, but she kind of expresses her feelings throughout the piano. It was a very interesting film. I don't know if I enjoyed it or not. It made me think. There is a lot of it has to do with sexual stuff. It's 2 men lusting over this main character. That's kind of the main thread that goes all the way through it. So if you're not into that, I wouldn't recommend it, but if not, it's definitely one I think people should watch and find out what their opinion of it all is. I didn't really like the main character, so I think that's why I wasn't so fond of the film. So yeah. One of the big TV things I have been watching is Mrs. Fisher's Murder Mysteries. Now, the first 2 or 3 episodes were a bit slow, I'll give it that, but Franny Fisher finds her way in your heart. If I'm being honest, there's only 3 seasons on Netflix, and they're campaigning to make a film. It's another Australian based thing, and it's set in either the 60s or the 80s, I'm not 100% sure, but it is very clever. She's if you're a feminist, you'll really enjoy Franny Fisher. She's very much like anything a man can do, I can do 3 times better. But what great to me is there's an adorable love parallel story between Franny Fisher's, she's not her maid, it's like, I'm gonna say maid, it's the wrong word, I just can't remember, Dot, and the police constable Collins. They 2 are so adorable. I will say there's a few episodes I only watched because those 2 were they were so adorable. I cried a few times, and I'm just like, if you like a good heart-wrenching romantical B plot, watch it for Dot and Collins, and if you're very into murder mysteries like I am, you will enjoy the banter between Jack and Phryne and the murders and how they're solved. It's very, very clever. They use what they can, and I really enjoy all 3 seasons, and I will happily rewatch them. Ironic as it is, one of the other books I read on Wattpad this month was Learning to Love Christmas by, her name is Remarkable. And now I can all see you being like, why did you read a Christmas book, Sarah? Now, as a few of you probably know, I've not been going through the best time in my life, trying to almost, not kickstart my life, but figure out who I am. Where do I stand in my own life, kind of thing. I'm approaching a very big period of change, so it's one of these get to know who you are kind of things happening. And Christmas has always been my favourite time of the year, and I thought I was just getting to a really low point in the month, and I was like, the best thing you can do right now is read something that will make you happy. And Christmas makes me happy. So I read a book about Christmas. Now this book was something I didn't know I needed in my life till now. My What Talk is coming, don't worry. But I'll summarise it for you. Our main character is called Noelle, and she is the epitome of Christmas, as most of these books are. Now, she is challenged to make, I've forgotten his name, I think it's Oliver? Yes, Oliver Hastings. She is challenged to make him love Christmas. And you just follow them two as they complete this list of Noels, and you learn so much about the characters, and it's a beautiful romantic little tale around Christmas time, and it was very, very much needed. And there was a few characters that I didn't like, but you can't love every single character in every single book, so. But yes, I highly recommend that. The link will be in the description also. Another film I watched this month, which some of you will be like, what the hell, Sarah, is I watched Brokeback Mountain. Now, one of my classes, we are doing melodrama, and we're talking about melodrama in the family, and as you can tell, Brokeback Mountain has a lot of melodrama. This was the first time I'd ever watched the film. A lot happened in it that I didn't realise happened. Obviously, before going in, I knew some stuff that happens in Brokeback Mountain, like, I think we all know stuff that happens in Brokeback Mountain because it started the discussion with LGBT. And it was one of the first mainstream popular movies that started this kind of discussion on this subject. Obviously, years have passed and the subject's changed and a lot more people are open to discuss it, but it was one of these, it was interesting to see that depicted. This is another one where I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. I found it very, very poignant, and I really enjoyed what they were saying and how they portrayed it. There was just a few moments where I was a bit like, you know when you feel like the film is kind of dragging, that's where it was going, but other than that, I really did appreciate the film and what it was trying to say and what the message is. On the other hand, another film we watched in that class was Moonlight. Now, I kind of think of it, we had to almost compare them, and I kind of think Moonlight is more of the happily ever after version of Brokeback Mountain. It kind of concludes with them being like, we always have Brokeback Mountain. Where Moonlight, there was a lot of stuff being discussed. And there was a lot of, I don't know, there was a beauty to Moonlight which Brokeback Mountain had, but not all the way through, where Moonlight had it all the way through. I was really engaged with the story with Moonlight, and I can 300% see how it won an Oscar. It was absolutely gorgeous. The story was really compelling, and it was just one of those, if you ever can get a chance to see it, highly recommend watching Moonlight. I've got 3 physical books I can actually show you with what I've read this month. The first one is called The Third Act. Most of you know, because I talk about it a lot on Twitter, is I'm writing a film for my dissertation, and that includes physically writing a screenplay. The third act is the hardest thing you can write in a screenplay. So I am reading so much into writing screenplays. So this is a very interesting book that talks a lot about how the first act and the third act are kind of a question-answer sequence with the second act being a way to find the clues to the answer. It has been very eye-opening, and there's a lot of stuff in here that I will not only take into my film writing, like writing for film, but also into writing my books about subtleties and just hints and tricks and stuff about that. And I've not 100% finished it. I think I've got about 100 pages left, but I'm very glad I picked this up from my university book, and I would highly recommend it if you are ever thinking about even just writing in general, not just screenplays. It is heavily based toward that, but it does have some advice for just storytelling in general. One of the TV things I watched, which I wasn't sure I would like because the trailers, they fascinated me, but they never really told me anything, and that was Altered Carbon. Like, oh my god, Altered Carbon, it was amazing. I can't pronounce half the characters' names, but it was such an intertwining story. The only thing that I think will put a lot of people off is there is a lot of graphic things to do with the female body and sex and violence, and that is very graphic and it's very in your face, but it works with that world. There was a few episodes where like a buddy cop movie, then there was the murder mystery, then we had the kick-ass girl, and it was just all these genres mixing together, and they made this really compelling story. There wasn't one episode where I was like, this is lulling, this is dull, this doesn't make sense. Everything was building on top of everything, and when it came to the end there was no real threads left unanswered, and it left the story on a very positive note, and I really enjoyed it. And it was one of these I'm going to recommend to absolutely everyone if you can, but do keep in mind sexual things are quite graphic as well as the violence as well, so if you're not into that, maybe give it a miss, but it's a really compelling story. Some of the concepts are really interesting. If you'd like me to do a TV talk on it, I'd love to do one, I think, but it's just one of these, I can't pronounce anyone's names. Okay, I've become really obsessed with D&D in the last few months. I've sat and watched Critical Role. I only got to the end of campaign 1 just before the year break, and I've started watching campaign 2 because campaign 2 I can watch from the very beginning. In campaign 1 I love the twins so much, but Percival is my favourite character. And campaign 2, Jester, I have fallen in love with Jester. Laura Bailey is absolutely phenomenal. Critical Role is a role-playing D&D live on Twitch every Thursday, but I watch it on the Monday when they upload it on YouTube because I'm not awake when they upload it on a Thursday. Absolutely phenomenal. It's a lot of laughs. I recommend it to absolutely everyone. I am enjoying it so much. And talking about D&D, I have found the wonders of the Adventure Zone. I'm only 4 episodes in, mainly because I have no time because I'm trying to catch up with Critical Role. But Adventure Zone is a family. It's 3 brothers and their dad, and they're playing D&D as well, and it's just one of those things to walk to the train station listening to it. It makes your day so much better. So if you're interested in D&D at all, I'd highly recommend giving it a listen. And do tell me if you watch Critical Role or the Adventure Zone, who is your favourite characters? Mine is Jester from campaign 2 of Critical Role, and Percival from campaign 1, and from the Adventure Zone so far it's Tackle. I have 2 more physical books and then I'll be done this weird chat. The first one is teen film. For my dissertation, my film is actually a teen film, talking genre wise, and so in the essay I need to talk about where it fits into the genre. Now this book goes into quite a lot of detail, and it talks about a lot of different teen films in different genres, talking about how they make each, how is it a teen film and why. And a lot of the time it's because it's some sort of coming of age story, which this goes into detail. Mine is very much a murder, mystery, horror, thriller teen film. And this has given me a lot of insight into teen films in general, other films I can compare mine to in the essay, and it's just been very, very informative. It was a long read. It seems like a short book, but it was a very long read. It was very, very wordy, which is the one thing I get really annoyed with university books, is they're very, very wordy. But it was worth it. I got the information I needed from it. And last but not least, the book every screenwriter ever is recommended. Screenwriting, the Sequence Approach. This genuinely gives you an outline of what should happen step by step in your script. I find this very interesting, but my issue is my first draft of my script, I stuck to this way too much, and it turned my script into a video game, give or take. So as much as I love this, and I have read this 3 or 4 or 5 times now, my advisor has told me to put this book to the side because I am becoming too reliant on it as a structure. So I have to now let my creativity flow. But other than that, if you are interested in writing films at all, I would give this a read. At least the first 2 or 3 chapters. It goes into putting the sequence it provides into like stories like Toy Story, WALL-E, things like that, and showing this is where the sequence is seen here. But for the first 2 or 3 chapters, when it's explaining what's happening in each sequence, it's really interesting, but don't get caught up like I did and get too fixated and sticking to this formula. Scripts don't have to 100% stick to a formula. They are a story, and stories are allowed to be creative. So that's what I've learned from this book, but it was very, very informative. So guys, that was my roundup of things I have read and watched this month, what I've consumed content-wise this month. If you liked any of these, please tell me in the comments below. I really want to know what you think about Critical Role or The Adventure Zone if you watch them. I need people to fangirl over these characters with. I can't draw, but I can fangirl with you. So please tell me if you watch them or listen to them. It would be absolutely amazing. If you like this like summary of things I've read and watched, please tell me below, because I'm thinking about maybe doing this as like a monthly favourites kind of thing. And I'm going to stop rambling because I can. So please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next week. Bye! Mwah!